For February the 28th, 2014, we talk about the closer of Irrational, Calculords, and we ask you about your most desired genre mashups. Welcome to the 50-second level. My name is Cole Ross.
I'm Dennis Furia.
I'm David Meisman.
I'm Ben Merkel.
And you are listening to The Level. It's a podcast.
Why is it funny that he's Ben Merkel?
That's the way he said it, I think.
Well, I was thinking, while we were introducing ourselves, I was thinking Dennis could have a cool superhero name of Liquid Furious.
Why not Furious George?
That would be cool, too. He looks like a George.
He does.
I don't know, I think more of a Greg.
Jokes about things we said on the episode. Not really. Before the episode. But
what is this?
We messed that up. And you're listening to The Level, apparently. It's a podcast for people who love video games. So, guys, I'm thinking this is episode number 52. And so that means that it's been a little over a year since we've, started the show. Not a little over a year. It's been like a year and a couple of months. But 52 makes sense. That is 52 weeks that represents a year. And I think that is the appropriate time to kind of introduce ourselves and talk about where the hell this comes from. Because something that comes up on an infrequent basis is like, what the hell is this? Who are these guys? So, just
why am I listening to this?
Yeah.
Why can't I stop?
I can't figure it out either. So, no. So, just a real quick rundown. So, we've been doing a form or fashion of this show. I've been doing it since 2006, but I think you guys hopped on and it became a show about video games. Like, does 2008 sound right? 2008, 2009?
Roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I will say, quote unquote, all of us met in college.
Ouch to David.
So I say like quote unquote because I've known David since like literally kindergarten.
Well, I knew Ben before college too.
Exactly.
So
like quote unquote, but like the four of us collided in our freshman year on the first floor of a dorm in the University of Cincinnati, and we became fast game friends. Right. Mm-hmm. Ben, you were our RA.
That's true.
This is true.
Cole got me
Where did you go wrong?
Yeah, no, I immediately asserted my dominance. No.
And then left.
Yep. Yeah.
Love them and leave them.
Yeah, exactly. That is kind of where I was like, I'm doing this college radio show. It was called Stand Under the Don't Tree and Riddle Me This. It's still on the network if you look in the retired shows. And slowly but surely, I brought all of you into the fold. And then that, after we graduated, became a podcast, and then that turned into this network. And that turned into this. So even though this show started, I believe December of 2012, I believe, we've got that history. All of us are outsiders, not working professionally, in relation to games. We're just a bunch of dudes who spend a lot of time thinking about games, a lot of time talking about games, right?
A lot of time loving games.
Exactly. Did I miss anything? Does anybody feel that their story has not been well presented?
I think you hit it on the head. The one thing I'd say is that just like for the vision for the show or whatever. Sorry, the background on me. I'm in marketing, so I say things like that.
I'm in marketing
so
too.
Sorry. Yeah. Oh yeah, you are. That's true. But
we can say what we all do for a living too. I don't care.
Yeah. The idea of the show is less to be about game reviews and industry news and stuff, and more to be about the experience of playing games and kind of games as an evolving medium for art. Which is combined with a lot of just dicking around because we're college buddies, but that's kind of where we're headed with this.
Yeah, and
I would say So, I would kind of say almost in the same way that, the editorial department is to news, we try to kind of be to reviews in that we're not obligated to be objective. We're just kind of giving our opinions. Does that...
I believe so, and that kind of jibes with my let's say philosophy on life in general, which is that objectivity does not exist. But I would say that just like across the network, part of the ethos, if you look at stuff that's on Duckfeed.tv, to talk in the most pretentious terms possible, it's about experience, right? It's about like where do these things, be it weird news or Dark Souls, fit into our lives, and like just looking at it through that lens or bouncing it off of there. So,
or in the case of Dark Souls, consume our lives.
I guess,
I think that's the only game in which I have a save file that's over 100 hours. Go figure.
You've obviously never played MMOs.
Yeah, no, never do a /played. Never do that. Yeah, but that's a lot of self-important ways of saying we meet up on Tuesday nights. These come out on Fridays. We dick around. We talk about stuff. There's a loose structure. And tangents are welcome. So if this is your first show, you're starting ahead of everybody who started in the first episode in terms of understanding the dynamic. But sometimes it's nice to make that to bring people up to speed, right?
Mm-hmm. See in 52 episodes.
Yeah, I know, right? 104, baby. So it's going to be the huge this time. We're going to talk about some news. Going to talk about some things we've been playing, and then there's we're doing some genre benders, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's our multiplayer section. So let's go.
It's
for it,
gonna get
guys.
weird.
Whoa! Segment break.
Are we doing the Scooby-Doo outro?
Jinkies, guys, it's time for The Brief, which is where we talk about news that is happening in the world around us. So we weren't here last week, and we missed the Irrational closing.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yep.
And then them all getting hired by Bethesda.
Oh, did that happen?
Yeah, apparently.
Huh.
I feel like what this year has taught me is that, video game studios don't exactly ever cease to be. They just kind of reshuffle the IP among the collective.
I mean, we saw that with THQ, right? There was a straight up auction to get a hold of all their IPs. But even with the talent, for as much churn as there is in the industry and people burning out and all this kind of stuff, usually I think that there are fewer people who play music professionally in this world. Or so sorry.
Really?
There are fewer people who make video games than people who play music professionally. So I don't have the numbers to back that up, but because because the talent pool is so scarce, because the market is so competitive, I would think that people from Irrational would be good catches, right? Mm-hmm. Because they do make well-reviewed games, even though one of the speculated reasons why this happened wasn't so much because Ken Levine was like, yeah, I want to make smaller stuff. It was because BioShock Infinite didn't sell to expectations.
Which were way overblown anyway.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of hand-wringing about, what does this mean for the AAA title? And I don't know. I think that there are all kinds of, crises of confidence as, just with the growing pains around the new console generation or whatever. I don't even know.
Well, I don't know if we maybe don't want to go down this tangent, but did BioShock Infinite really not... I mean, BioShock Infinite did well.
I have no idea. I don't know what the sales figures are. I don't know if it performed to expectations or below them or what, or it didn't exceed the expectations enough to make Take-Two's or is that 2K? I always get those two confused. Damn them. To make the publisher to make the publisher satisfied that they were worth throwing more money into.
I think it did better than your average industry, just better compared to the industry, just not good enough compared to expectations.
Yeah.
Which I think happened to Tomb Raider a little bit too.
Yeah, no, it definitely happened to Tomb Raider, although I think Tomb Raider then had a really big long tail or whatever. That just sounds weird, but like I think Tomb Raider is now to like expectate. I don't know, but
which is just ridiculous.
See, I don't. You're a businessman. I don't understand this whole like. It's clearly making us a lot of money, but it's not making us a lot of money enough. Like, I don't understand that, like we'd rather... It almost seems like we'd rather have no money than yeah, you know kind of what I'm saying?
So I got some numbers to back this up here.
Thanks.
Yeah. So
you need research? What?
Yeah, Google is tough.
He's the mathematician of the team.
So Bioshock Infinite sold 2.89 million last year, and it was the 10th best-selling video game in 2013. To put that in perspective, The Last of Us grossed 3.69 million. It was number 6. Assassin's Creed Black Flag sold 4.11 million, and the highest grossing game was Grand Theft Auto 5, and that sold 26.75 million. Pretty big jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. Call of Duty was second highest with 12.71 million. So,
yeah.
See, but BioShock was never going to be like a Call of Duty or a Halo or whatever.
Well, no, but like, was BioShock Infinite ever going to be a BioShock, which actually did turn like really, really good numbers, like unexpected. Like it went into these different audiences that people didn't really expect to go for that kind of game, right? Like was it ever going to be as lucrative for them as the original, right?
Yeah.
Or was it going to be enough of a step up to justify, like, maybe if they kept Irrational around, they would develop another thing that would take 7 years to make and would cost them even more money and would, like, not underperform, but, like, not overperform. Yeah. Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't.
Yeah. Remember when we said we were industry outsiders? That we weren't lying.
Yeah, we proved it. But like,
baseless speculation.
But it used to be like you guys remember like talking about MPD numbers, and for as much as that's like wankery, and for as much as that is like totally not the way things shake out anymore, because MPD, it was a big deal back then that the MPD didn't take Walmart into account. Well, now they don't take Steam into account, which is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Valve is holding on to those numbers. I don't even know if it takes Amazon into account. So it's a different world than what was happening back in 2010 before the MPD closed up shop on doing those monthly reports. But at the very least, you would be able to say like this is the game that topped it, right? Mm-hmm. And so like it's just weird that. There's all of these, again, crises of confidence that are the result of not so much a lack of data, but the idea that, we don't hear anything except for rumors that the Wii U isn't doing well until Nintendo has an earnings call that says, yeah, we're in like really, really huge trouble. And people are talking about like Sega buying them or some shit.
Wow.
I know, right? No.
Yeah. What now? The one silver lining to the... I hate to even call it a silver lining to the Irrational layoffs. Just being on Twitter and seeing the outpouring of support for everyone in terms of like every games company that's hiring is like, hey, if you're having trouble from Irrational, come talk to us. Mm-hmm. And that's just, I've seen that happen multiple times, and not just for like big studio closings, but just there really is a sense of community in the gaming community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
and, maybe those names have something to do with each other. I don't know, but like more so than I've seen in other places where it's kind of everyone for themselves. That there does seem to be something healthy there, mm-hmm. even if it is revealed by poor circumstances.
Right. Well, something similar happened like when 1UP closed, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I'm just really I just want to make sure that Sean Elliott ends up somewhere good. That's all I care about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Irrational. Like it's been talked to death, but that we put in our piece there. That was my story. I don't really my only other thing was that Asheron's Asheron's call is winding down, but that was more just kind of like What?
How?
Asheron's Call, one of kind of like the original MMOs, started back in 1999. It was more just kind of like, it's been a while since I've seen that name. But apparently it's still running, which is pretty funny because that was like it was co-concurrent with EverQuest.
Oh wow!
Yeah, But let's see here, Ben. What you got?
Yeah, so I have another one that's not related to an article necessarily, but I wanted to talk about Twitch playing Pokemon. Have you guys?
That was in something just to prove that like my life is now a big living episode of the Big Bang Theory. That was what we've been watching in the robotics lab this past week.
Yeah, so I had heard about this for a while without knowing what it was, and so I don't know, casually looked it up. But for those who don't know, it's like a broadcasting website, Twitch, right? It's like Justin TV or something like that, where people can broadcast playing video games.
It very much is so much so that it is a subset of Justin TV.
Oh,
it's the same company.
There you go.
Sorry.
Yeah, all right. See, I am not too knowledgeable in this area. But a programmer made a way for people to play Pokemon on this website by typing in the comments section.
The chat.
Yeah. So if somebody types in A or B or the words up or down, it will kind of pseudo-randomly pick one of those comments, and then it'll perform that action. So with a group of people, they can tell how Ash to move and tell them how to fight and enter in commands and play the game Pokemon. And so the idea is to try and beat this game with a bunch of people at once entering in all these comments. And this started a few weeks ago and then totally blew up. So yeah, there were a couple funny things that happened. Like when it first started, before it blew up, they had made some decent progress. They had gotten through 2 of the gyms, I think. Then it got really big, and then people started sabotaging the game.
It's just typing start.
Yeah, so that was one thing. Yeah, people kept pausing the game. So the original programmer disabled that, or like limited the number of times that you could press start. But then a faction of people made Ash walk into a Poke Center and release his Pokemon. So I think he had Charmander was the original one they started out with, and they released it.
Yep.
And they released all of his other leveled up Pokemon, which is like kind of screws you over. Like you kind of start from the beginning. So. So yeah, I think they've progressed through 4 gyms, 4 or 5 now. But you can watch this. If we were good podcasters, we'll provide a link. So I'll send.
Twitch URLs are really crazy. Like,
yeah.
But
can I add one thing here?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Apparently, the other part of it is, in addition to posting like up, A, B, etc., you can either post anarchy or democracy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which, as I understand it, anarchy is if most people have posted anarchy, it then chooses a random command that someone's entered. If they do democracy, then it takes the vote, whichever command has been entered most.
Yeah. And that was like only they put that in. Time is meaningless, but they have like that was a late addition to the Twitch Plays Pokemon experience, because before that, like, it was all anarchy, which is as the commands are entered, they are executed. Right. So like just putting that in was a way to try and keep the trolls down. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you guys seen Twitch Plays Pokemon Plays Tetris?
No.
An actual thing, I assure you. I couldn't make something that great up, but it is exactly what it sounds like. So I tried like looking at it because like again, people at work are talking about it because we're a relatively tech savvy and young company with lots of gamers on the pulse. Yeah.
So that's actually the sound they make.
Yeah. It's really upsetting. No, I've had a fair share of like anxiety attacks in my life, and watching Twitch Plays Pokemon feels exactly like that. It's just kind of like, what is happening?
No, don't do that. No.
No. Why are you throwing up? Don't do that. But it's
So how does it handle, as someone who's uninitiated, how does it handle like walking around? Like if you say up, does he just walk one square forward?
Yes,
Yes.
one square.
it's a lot of going into corners.
That's horrible.
Yep.
Or the
Slow-moving
one I
process.
noticed was like going and talking to an NPC, walking 2 squares away, and then going back and deciding he needs to talk to the same NPC over and over again.
I saw someone at a Pokemart trying to access Bill's PC. Hopefully not for nefarious purposes, but that was just really tough. Just to navigate the menu of going to either your PC or Bill. Yeah. So.
Well, and people were talking about how crazy is it going to be when you have to start using HMs to progress, like to use cut or like boulder or whatever it is, like just trying to navigate those menus where you probably so you have to get to the Pokemon screen, get to the right the right Pokemon with that, and then select the right skill, or even to apply them to the right one.
Yeah,
because
I'm thinking. Like the very last dungeon, you have to do like the border pushing puzzles.
Oh god. Oh god. What other games could we do this on? So there's Tetris.
I know. I mean, I've seen MMO Pong.
Yeah. Well, no, you like all you have to do is you take that crazy Raspberry Pi robot that programs Super Mario World to play Snake. And so you hook that up to something. Like, it's not so much what else could we apply this to, it's what could we take this input stream. It all has to be Game Boy, but you apply it to just like an endless string. So it's like Twitch plays Pokemon, plays Tetris, plays Gator, plays like Revenge of the Gator pinball, plays...
See, when you say Super Mario plays Snake, I'm hoping you mean actually like Metal Gear Solid.
Oh yeah, do the Metal Gear Ghost Babel. Do Twitch plays Pokemon
God.
Red, plays Pokemon Blue. And just
Yes.
no,
They're
and then you
regressing.
see what the entropy does. So it's very similar games that have like random number generators that are like maybe like 1 or 2 off, and just see how they diverge from the same set of inputs. Right, so you would have to start them concurrently, which is like you would have both of them running at the same time.
Oh, no, but what you could do is people could see both windows at once. And so when you're inputting a command for both, you have to do like which one am I prioritizing? Mm-hmm. Where's the right middle ground? What move is most beneficial to both games?
Wait, is this some sort of like I have to decide which alternate universe I destroy so that the other may live?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up, because otherwise it would have passed without remark. But Twitch plays Pokemon.
Twitch plays Flappy Bird.
Oh, good lord!
Can't, won't. Yeah, both. So
Either.
yeah, thank you. Oh man, David, what's up?
Steam has added a new way to filter games. Have you seen the Steam tags?
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Yep.
I hate it so much.
So basically, it's a collaborative filtering thing where people can apply tags to various games, and then you can sort by go and look at the most popular tags and see what games have them. I can't say one way or the other whether it's actually useful or not, because I'm not the type of person that, into like actually constructive uses of things. So instead, I've been collecting some of the more bizarre top tags in a list, so I wanted to read a couple of them. We've got Walking Simulator.
Yeah, I'm looking up. I have Dear Esther pulled up. I was about ready to say what some of those are.
Yeah. So that's basically every game that has been described as games as art is listed under Walking Simulator.
Yeah.
Get Good or Die Trying, which is like Dark Souls, the various
Yeah.
roguelike. Similarly, most of those can be found under Procedural Death Labyrinth. Nanomachine Sun, which is
Metal Gear.
Deus Ex, Metal Gear, all of those.
Right.
Probably one of the weirdest was Praise the Sun, which, as you would expect, contains Dark Souls, but also contains various other games that prominently feature the sun, such as Plants vs. Zombies.
Oh, they should have Tearaway on there. Well, I guess it's
Just in case you were like, you know what, I want to play a game, but it has to have the sun as a major gameplay element.
Yeah.
But that's just a deal breaker. Also, Hat Simulator, which is another way of searching for Valve games.
Right.
And Rome wasn't patched in a day.
nice.
The other interesting thing is trying to find how many of the noting that of the negative titles, so like buggy, ripoff, overrated, etc., virtually all have in the top 5 Call of Duty Ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So looking at this, like there were a lot of reports of just shitty fans trolling games like Gone Home with tags like you give people a wall, they're gonna draw cocks on it, right? And so and so like looking at the tags for Gone Home, like aside from Walking Simulator and like. There's one which is weird. Okay, so they have Ghost on there, which is funny. And then they have Cis Scum, which is Tumblr speak for talking like something that transgendered individuals, activists rather, refer to people who are cisgendered, which is funny because Gone Home has absolutely nothing to do with trans issues.
Yeah.
So unless they're trying to like read social justice warrior stuff type stuff into it, but it is heartwarming to see that like all of the hot button games that I've searched are not like are not trolly, right? Like looking at looking at like Fez, the stuff that I've read before is like Diva developer, stuff like one of it just says fish. Yeah. Which like maybe it's evened out and like it's faded into like, oh, here is an aspect of Steam that is like not really in the foreground, so I don't really have to pay attention to it anymore, and so it's not fun to play, not fun to mess around with. But like initially I was like, this is just the dumbest thing in the world because it's really just giving people license to troll creators.
Yeah, I'd agree, although I do think it's funny how many, granted, I haven't searched the last couple of days and looked, but how many of these weird ones actually have solidified. So, like, most of these, actually had survivability, even though a lot of them are kind of weird. So I do find that funny, the ones that kind of resonated, even though they're a little crazy.
Yeah. Like looking at, the Binding of Isaac, it's like, great soundtrack, dark, top-down, procedurally generated. Like, these might actually be things that I search for. Like, is this dark? Is it procedurally generated? Like, these are things that I value in a game. And so,
well, you've heard about how they're going to help people sort through the Steam tags and find the ones that are relevant, right?
How?
The Steam tags. So you take the Steam tags, and then you can assign characteristics to each Steam tag, such as helpful, unhelpful, sarcastic, insightful, and so you can kind of search that in the meta way to
see. The
Did
fact
Charlie
that
Kaufman
you think
design
that's,
this?
The fact that you think that's a joke means you've obviously never studied databases.
No, trust me, I know databases, son. So, yeah.
But no, the one I really found useful was Metroidvania.
Yes, yes.
I love the one for Amnesia: The Dark Descent. 3 spooky, 5 me. man. Okay, so it seems like it's evened out. I'm really just looking at the most popular ones. I don't know if you can dive deeper, and I don't know that I would ever want to dive deeper. But like, there's less axe grinding about like LGBT issues, which is all that I saw about it at the start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Although I do think this isn't exactly the same, but female protagonist is one that's hanging on that I think could be interesting, just because that I could see that being something that unfortunately could get trolled a lot, but could be useful.
Yeah. No, I mean just the there is some stuff that like the SEO descriptions wouldn't account for, and like if I want to see like a broad list of games with female protagonists, like knowing that I can search for that as opposed to just like what's the title or looking for some kind of fucking top 11 list of best games with female protagonists. It's weird. Searching is really, really weird. And the more that I study technology and the more that I learn about how companies actually work, the more I realize that this is like the final frontier for any kind of authenticity of like information integrity. So it's really depressing in a lot of ways.
You guys, you know what the top tag for Call of Duty Ghosts is?
What?
Dog.
How is that spelled?
Just it's spelled properly.
Is there an E at the end?
Wow. No, stop, no.
There you go. Okay, cool.
Such ghosts.
You've passed my test, Dennis. David has failed my test.
Hey, Dogecoin is currently trading for much more than Bitcoin.
Well, yeah, that's because like all the exchanges are shut down. God, I'm so just reading articles about Bitcoin like after Mt. Gox got shut down, and just seeing all of the people posting on Reddit like I lost 26 Bitcoins. You just lost $26,000 on like Monopoly money, dog.
Yeah. What are you doing?
What are you doing with your life? Sorry, I don't mean to troll people, but it's
we'll get hate mail for that one.
Oh, well, I don't care. Dennis, how about you? Round it out.
Yeah, so I'll do another little, since we did our State of the Union at the beginning, I'll do another little throwback to our very first episode. And mine will be not about a video game, but about a show about video games. So the first episode, I think I talked about Wreck-It Ralph. And now my little thing that I think is interesting is the Last of Us documentary, which I watched 2 nights ago. Last night I watched recently. Watched it on Amazon's video service, but it's on YouTube now for free.
Yeah.
So don't pay to watch this. It's available widely for free, and it's really, really good. Just to see how much work goes into this game is absolutely mind-blowing. And it's, my wife watched it with me, who is not necessarily, like, she plays video games, but she's not necessarily an industry follower or anything like that, and she liked it too. So it's just genuinely a very interesting topic to see the personalities and the work that goes into this. And I just left feeling grateful that there is someone who is willing to spend 6 months working on a tiny little feature that if they've done their job right, I will never notice.
Yep.
Like that blows my mind.
Yeah.
And so it's you get to see that, you get to see a little more about the actors behind that, and kind of get a window into how they film all their scenes, which was really cool for me. So for example, they force themselves to follow all the rules of conventional filming when they're building their scenes.
Right.
So that as they go back through to change camera angles and stuff, they kind of have a quote-unquote cameraman and will not allow themselves to go through a physical wall, even if that doesn't show up on camera or anything.
Yeah.
Like they hold themselves to those rules. Again, one of those things where it takes a lot of extra work, but it if they do it right, you'll never notice it. So,
yeah, like they don't cross the 180, that they don't cross the line of action. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Or like they even said, we've got a couple scenes in there where we modeled the camera person bumping into a wall because that's the way we wanted to shoot it. I'm just like, holy crap.
Yep.
Like that's amazing.
Yeah, and like most of it is handy cam anyway, and like when they do when they do a steady cam shot, like you really notice it.
Yeah, and so it just made me want to play back through the main game again. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah. Was that one called Grounded?
Grounded, yeah.
Yeah. So that was produced by Area 5. Okay. Which is a group of people. They originally worked for 1UP. They did the 1UP show, and then after 1UP imploded, they did co-op for a little while, and now they're like the most recent thing after this Last of Us documentary, which actually originally came out on the collector's edition of The Last of Us.
Okay.
They had a successful Kickstarter funded called Outerlands, which is about the people and culture of video games. So kind of like a general documentary about video game enthusiasts.
Nice.
Yeah. So they're all really cool dudes, and I'm excited to see that they're kind of like their work is showing up in the press, and that's like Matt Chandronay and
Yeah, it's an hour and a half of your time well spent.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued.
I was gonna say, now I know what I'm doing after the podcast.
Yes, you do. Yeah. So go check that out. That's on YouTube. It's on my list. I've got it like loaded on my Apple TV to check out here while I'm playing Zelda. Yeah, and it's funny because I think they're using the same Squarespace template that we are. Now that I'm looking at their site, so that's pretty funny. Or something very similar.
They have taste.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, these industry titans. I'm not trying to compare us to Area 5 here or anything, but we
Area 5 compares themselves to us.
Please. I think they even had a .tv domain before we did, so I'm going to move us away from that.
The Grind.
It is time for The Grind, where we talk about the things that we have been playing in the past, I guess, 2 weeks now. But, let's try not to make it last too long, I suppose. Oh, man. Since we just talked about Last of Us, Ben, go.
Yeah, you knew.
You said it last episode. You were going to do it. So
yeah, that's right.
I would have claimed clairvoyancy.
That's right. We talk during the podcast. I forgot about that.
Some of us do.
Yeah. Ooh.
No, I'm kidding.
It stings. Yeah. So I played The Last of Us. It was cool. It was like maybe 3 or 4 hours long.
You played Left Behind, just to be clear.
Yeah.
The DLC that features Ellie, Elizabeth. Which one is she?
Ellie and Riley.
Ellie and her friend Riley. It's a flashback / Tarantino-esque cutting
forward
between flashback and current events. So it's good. I don't want to say too much about it because it's 4 hours long. So saying much of anything about it spoils a significant chunk of it. So,
yeah.
I think I
ask you? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, what were you going to say?
I was going to ask if I could ask you. I played it as well, so I have a question for you. But I want you to finish talking about it, and then I'll ask my question.
I was going to say, yeah, I think I sent you a text about it, Dennis, right after I had beat it, and it was like debatable whether or not it's worth $15, but it's worth it just to be reminded of the world of The Last of Us. So it's kind of like a $15 tip for Naughty Dog, and I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just give my opinion and you can tell me what you think of it. I loved it right up until the final cutscene. And the final cutscene just felt like it did not pay off in the way I wanted. It felt like a cheesy a cop out almost. It didn't feel genuine. It didn't feel, wow, I'll tie back into this. It didn't feel grounded to me.
Okay.
And sans that last little part, which again, we've said so many times on the show, a bad ending does not make for a bad overall product.
I've said,
most of the time.
I will not make you guys die on that hill with me.
No, but it's true. Like I love the DLC. The ending was, I have to imagine it was rushed or something. I would like to believe that there was some external influence that made it, not as good as it could have been, because it's not as good as it could have been.
Can I ask a clarifying question without spoiling much.
Yeah, let's
did
talk about this in vague terms.
Yeah,
I've got my markers here.
Did the cutscene take place on the west side of the country or the east side of the country?
No idea. It was during the flashback.
Okay, all right.
Well, no,
that's enough.
it's yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's my question, just like as a more foundational kind of thing. I'll speak about it in vague terms so as not to spoil things. But does this provide context for the way that Ellie begins her story in the main game of The Last of Us? Like
it provides more information about her.
Okay.
And more so than any other character. It doesn't really do much with Joel or anything.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you've played the main game, it shows you a series of events that you know happened, but it actually lets you get to see, the actualities instead of just having them referenced.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Which is I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I like that character a lot. She's really good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Huh. I mean, is the play good? I mean, is playing as Ellie satisfying?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like terribly new ground or anything, but I mean that's not necessarily a bad thing because the game plays so well already.
Is it scary?
As scary as the regular game was, which
Yeah.
Wait, was the first game scary? I didn't realize this was a game that was supposed to be scary.
Yeah, scary
parts
as
of it
shit.
are
Yeah,
parts
it's
of it
very,
are
very
scary.
intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's like the Resident Evil 4 theory of horror, which is like we're going to throw like a couple of things that are like kind of spooky, but mostly it is tension and emotional exhaustion that you're going to be facing against.
Yeah, which how much of that can you build up in 4 hours?
I mean,
Which is funny
look at
'cause
like
it's
Amnesia
How
or
much
something like that.
PTSD can we generate in 4 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The one thing I'll say, and this isn't a spoiler because it's been people have talked about it just in the materials.
Drop a marker, Cole.
Yeah. No. Is that you can kind of, whereas this never really happened in the main game, you can kind of instigate fights between human NPCs and clickers.
okay.
So that's something that they touted as, hey, here's a new mechanic you'll get to have in the DLC, which is it's in there. But every time I started the fight, it was just kind of like, well, I can just sit back and watch this play out now, and like it was kind of it ended the section like, hey, that's the win button.
No.
'Cause I'll just
Wait,
get these two
isn't
to
that
beat each
the
other.
point?
Yeah, but it wasn't fun. Like it worked. It was effective. It worked, but it wasn't fun. It wasn't broken or anything. It worked. It was too effective, I guess.
See, I messed up all of those because I would kill one side like before the other side could come in.
Oh.
And so I just had to kill two groups of people, and yeah.
So,
Interesting.
like, ideally, and, this is the case with most stealth games to a certain extent, at least the ones that don't immediately enter a fail state if you're spotted. But, like, ideally, like, if you did that, it would just shift the difficulty over in a Dishonored type way towards, like, you've introduced entropy into the system, and now you have to resolve it. So,
Yeah.
like, maybe you have fewer clickers or humans to deal with, but, like, they're really pissed off. Right, like just you've just settled on a different path for this gameplay to follow, right? And now you have to deal with this chaos or cope with it. Yeah.
So yeah, again, $15 is steep, but I like what you said, Ben, about it's a $15 tip for Naughty Dog, and you get a little more game and a little more backstory, which I can rationalize at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Huh. I'm curious about it. I mean, I'm gonna probably when I get time to play games, I'm gonna go after it just because I really love that world and I would like to spend more time in it. So
Yeah. All right, and so I have a couple more too.
Wow.
I've been a little bit busy. So if there's not anything else, I'll go on to my next thing.
Do it.
I played Brothers.
Damn it!
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you just took my two, so I'll go. Cry in a corner now.
Dennis, you would be very proud of me because I got a 1 month trial of PlayStation Plus because I was getting PSN cards for Last of Us anyway because I don't want to give my credit card information to Sony.
Why?
After previous events, yeah. So I figured I got enough to like round up to. I was going to get Brothers, but then I saw it was on PlayStation Plus for $5 less than it would be to buy the actual game. So I ended up going that route, and yeah. So I guess we can talk about that now too, Dennis.
Have you beaten it or have you just played it?
I've beaten it.
Okay, cool.
Have you both beaten it?
Yes.
Would it make sense to do a bonus level about that?
So you've stumbled upon a developer that I'm reaching out to. So
okay, cool. There we go. Okay, cool. So my instincts are correct because I've been thinking about Brothers a lot because for work I'm doing writing about storytelling in games, and Brothers is my first example of that. So that is that is something that is at the forefront of my mind. But let's not spoil anything because there's some serious like tearjerker moments in this game. But Ben, what was your response to it? You know, because I talked about it a while back in very vague terms, but I want to hear what you think of that like overall experience.
For some reason, it kind of reminded me of Limbo, and I know that sounds weird, but
not really.
Just like the kind of like the pacing of it, and just having like the idea of like the setting being very engaging, and like that kind of one of the driving forces of the game is just being in awe of the setting that you're in.
Yeah.
So it's a puzzle driven game. The controls are pretty cool or pretty unique compared with any other game where you're controlling two characters and you use the two joysticks to control their movement. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of trying to coordinate the movements of two characters at once. And so that's definitely a gameplay experience that I hadn't felt before, trying to do stuff like that.
So were you like me? Did you have to have the older brother on the left and have to have the smaller brother on the right, or else you were just completely messed up?
It certainly made things easier if you did it that way.
and they knew that because they're like, it feels like they designed the sequence of the puzzles and the camera angles to make it so that they set you up for that.
Yeah.
Just to keep it there because, you know, it's just easier. It's an easier muscle memory model to like treat them as two cursors. But there were times where they subverted that in order to like make a jumping puzzle more like trickier, right?
Uh-huh.
And like it was so great.
Yeah. They were very aware of that.
Yeah.
But it threw into sharp relief how unable I am to multitask, even though I would think that that's what I'm doing 90% of the time with with video games.
I'm calling it now. Twitch plays Brothers.
Twitch plays Pokemon, plays Gator Golf, plays Brothers. Yeah.
I love how the game world is not afraid to be bright and fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it's very whimsical. And it's even though the subject matter can be extremely heavy at times, it does not shy away from that whimsy, and I kind of found that added to it rather than having a dissonance.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing about the game is just the setting. It feels like like all of the really memorable experiences. I feel like are so strongly tied to where you were, and that the environment that you were in,
where you were, and what it was having you do. Like the story, there's not much to say about it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of like the Last of Us DLC. It's only about 4 hours.
Yeah, I like when I played it for the show. I played it in a night. So
okay. Yeah.
Like, it's a one sitting game easily.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Would you? Well, I feel like we go over this a lot, but would you say it's a game that should be played in one sitting, or it's?
I
wouldn't. I see no reason why not.
Yeah, I feel like I benefited from it being one sitting, just because. I was about ready to use a work term. Okay, I'll say it. The delta in it. Like like the change from beginning to end is much better appreciated when you take it all in one gasp.
Sure.
As opposed to if you broke that experience up. I would say if you could find 3 unbroken hours to sit down and do this thing, it wouldn't hurt your experience and it likely would help it.
Because I think granted, I don't beat games much, so I don't have a lot of depth in this. But like, I felt like, for example, Spec Ops, I really enjoyed it for the fact that I beat it in like 2 days.
Yeah.
And I felt like that made it a better game.
Yeah.
I think you beat that in a quicker time than I did, David.
Yeah. Well, I guess for me, like, I felt like that. I don't know, for that game that really emphasized like the intensity of it, whereas on the other hand I could see a game that's more philosophical maybe, but anyways, that's a tangent.
Which is interesting because I actually enjoyed playing Spec Ops over several play sessions just because it gave me time to obsess over it and to marinate in it and to just really feel the weight of it in between. Although I will say I played Brothers in 2 sessions. And unknowingly, I quit right before shit got real, essentially. And so I regretted having that break there because I feel like it artificially divided it into like the fun part and the serious part where that would not have existed otherwise.
I mean, it's something that comes up every once in a while, and like I know we talk about it on WAF, and it's something that I bring up occasionally. Is like games desperately need something approaching the short story. And a short story, it doesn't take you 3 hours to read a short story unless you're a simpleton. But like so something that you can take at a gasp, like something that is meant to, like be consumed without the luxury of time to process. Like that you take it in and then it sticks with you for a while afterwards, as opposed to like a novel, which you over the course of like a week or 2 weeks. Just kind of like let's seep in chapter by chapter, right? And so, in games, something that hits that 3 to 4 hour mark fills that role, right? And so, like the line for digestibility rests at about that time, right?
Yeah, and I think I've only discussed this not actually when we've been recording, but I feel like that really is an important thing for the future of games as art, in that art has to, from a practical standpoint, art has to be something that you can relatively easily experience, digest, and discuss. And like, I really, really like Dark Souls, but I can't just be like, hey, you should play, Dark Souls, and then let's have a discussion about it, because playing Dark Souls is like a 30-hour commitment.
It's about, yeah.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying.
I would argue that there is that there is value in inhabiting something. Right.
Sure. And it's different types.
Like in the most literal sense, like recommending House of Leaves to somebody is saying you're going to inhabit this for a good long while. Like, even though it might not take you a very long time to read a 1,000-page book, like you're going to go back over this. Like, this is something that is going to, you're going to be in this for a little bit, and you're going to immerse yourself. And I would say that, there is room for experiences that breathe, and there is room for experiences that are willing to, expend calories or expend hours on atmosphere and setting, just like we talked about with Brothers, right? But so I wouldn't say that like something being short is necessary for art. To be the case, just because that habitation is valuable, I think. But you're right. I think that there is the takeaway here is that diversity is a good thing, and I guess one. If the breadth of experience that we're talking about is solely, 50-hour JRPGs or multiplayer games that you're going to have to spend months of real-time playing, like that is exclusionary, and like putting stuff in at these different tiers is going to be valuable for the range of experiences we can express, right?
I would argue that video games are kind of like books, where it's like length is kind of invariant of the quality. Like you can have a book like Guts be amazingly effective and only be 6 or 7 pages, or you can have War and Peace, which is good but super long, you know, like, and I think it's the same way with video games. Like, you can have video games be very impactful and very well executed, but only be a couple hours long. And the reverse, you can have something be very much like a monolith, but also well done.
Yeah, I mean, you have like a short story like Guts, and you have The Stand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like length kind of doesn't matter, insofar as there is no ideal one except for how you make use of it.
I guess what I'm saying, though, is like, for example, there's, college courses that are like, I don't know, movie appreciation, where film courses.
Yeah.
And you couldn't have one of those. You can have those because you can ask someone to watch like 5 films.
Yeah.
You can't do that with like 30-hour games.
That brings up to like a story. So I know this will be like the 5th time I've mentioned House of Leaves on the network this week. But when I was in undergrad at UC, not the University of California, University of Cincinnati, please. I was in the honors English course, and I was like, okay, so like honors English 101 was a bunch of like essays and stuff, and that's fine. And then when I signed up for honors English like 112 or whatever it was, like the second one, I was like checking the list of books that I would have to buy, for the next quarter, so I could order them on Amazon or some shit. And I was like, House of Leaves, that's weird. I've like read that like 6 what? House of Leaves? It was a whole quarter dedicated to reading House of Leaves.
Nice.
And so do you want to know what I did that quarter? Sure as fuck didn't read House of Leaves because I read it 6 times before that. But you're right. You're right, David. Like, those film appreciation ones, like I took a neo-noir film course, which was like, the Maltese Falcon up through like LA Confidential. That was great because like every class session was you just go to this class and watch a badass movie and then write an essay about it and then you're done.
Did you guys watch Brick?
We did not watch Brick. I think this was before Brick came out.
That's not true.
No?
That came out before we went to college, I believe.
Suppose so. I think it was before Brick broke into the conversation, I suppose.
Okay.
The most recent one we watched was LA Confidential. However, the final assignment was like a big long, like I would say like 25-page essay about a particular movie. I picked Mulholland Drive because that probably is one of my favorite movies of all time. But close up to that was Blade Runner, which we did not watch, but what I would say that is like one of the definitive noir movies of our time, but it wasn't covered. But, it's all determined by the professor, right? And he wanted us to watch, like Kiss Me Deadly and shit. So
you should throw a copy of Brick through his window.
Yeah. Oh, man, we've been talking about brothers for way too long. You played anything else, Ben?
Yeah, so I will not gas on too much longer. But in getting the PlayStation Plus, I played a few rounds of Payday 2 to try and gain a better understanding of Moneysmith, and and I also played a little bit of Metro Last Light, but by a little bit I mean like a minute. So yeah,
just to see that it ran.
Yeah, so installed correctly. PlayStation's running okay.
No problem.
What do you think of Payday so far?
You wait around for a drill to do something and shoot cops. So, I played like 3 or 4 rounds of it, and I can definitely see the potential of it, of mastering, like the bank robbery. I don't know if it has me hooked though, so I don't know if I'll get too into it or not. I'm probably just gonna bide my time and wait for South Park to come out and play that. So.
Yeah, sure. I would say it's a game that you'll probably want to go up in difficulty fairly quickly.
Okay.
I mean, I very rarely play like shooters on hard difficulties. However, I generally most commonly play Payday on the hardest difficulty.
Okay.
And it's because it's much more. a game about barely pulling off. Well, I guess, like every heist movie, it's much more about barely pulling off a heist than it is about pulling off a heist.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I played one of the hard missions, and that's where I stopped because I kept dying. But
Sure. Are you playing multiplayer?
no, I was only playing.
Okay. Don't play single player. Just don't.
Okay.
Just no.
Only
What
play
quick-
multiplayer. Okay.
Yeah, a quick question, Ben. Did you notice? Was there any auto assist on the aiming with twin sticks?
I don't think so.
Okay,
didn't.
that was something I noticed in the first one when I played it. That I think made it just feel 2 degrees off, which you wouldn't have noticed if you were playing with a mouse and keyboard.
Right.
You're welcome, David. But it turned me off to it on the console because they didn't see fit to account for that.
See, I'd be surprised because this is a game that headshots are a necessity. Like, on the higher difficulties, you're fighting guys in riot gear, and your bullets do no damage if you don't hit them in the head.
Yeah. So I guess that's one of the things that kind of turned me off of the game is like, yeah, it's like police head shooter simulator, like
Yeah.
yeah, because it's like you shoot like 200 cops in a mission, maybe, like, and I guess
I would say
know.
like straight up like that. It is a weird thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's one of those things like it is very much a good game. So there's a certain degree to which like, to what degree does that justify it? I would say that is definitely weird. And also, like, most of the time, like, the dialogue and stuff like that is written to, like, to encourage you to, like, be professional, avoid, bloodbaths, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the dialogue just very much falls flat.
Okay. So here's a question I have, because like when you start off at a place, usually it'll say like the mission indicator will be like go pick up this drill or whatever, and like that'll initiate the bank robbery when you do that, right?
Right. When you put on the mask, you would initiate the bank robbery.
Yeah, and so like so I was kind of bummed out that there wasn't any like kind of mandated casing. Like I guess it's open ended right now.
Can and should case. Like most of the missions, not all, but most of them, you can complete without firing. You can complete without anyone knowing you're there.
Okay, so so perhaps I just need to spend more time trying to do stuff because I hadn't figured out the mechanics of like stealthily doing things yet.
Sure. The other thing is, I mean, there's the stealth class.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the one I actually started upgrading because that was kind of what I wanted to head towards. But
sure, and there's a couple of things like in stealth mode, if you kill a guard, which you'll sometimes have to do, in order to, like kill them silently before they see you and the alarm goes off. You then have to answer their pager Han Solo style.
like blow up the pager then afterwards.
No, but like and it's a thing where like by default you can answer one pager before they or maybe two or something. Then you can upgrade under Mastermind class to do more. Although they are written to be as unconvincing as the Han Solo ones, although they do work. But the one downside to stealth mode I've seen, which is unfortunate, is often in stealth mode, it's in your best interest to just blow away civilians. Other than that, the game very much, the game straight up punishes you for it. It takes your money if you do that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So, like, that's an unfortunate side effect of, like, the way the rules work.
Yeah, I liked the mechanic that you have like a number of twist ties or whatever, or the white things, and you can use that to tie up civilians. Like, I wish that mechanic was kind of explored more as far as
later on there'll be scenes where you're trying to sell things. Like there's certain levels where once it goes loud, everything big time goes to crap. So like, there's certain ones where maybe like once it goes loud, like security bars will like close over all the like paintings or whatever.
Okay.
So then it becomes a lot harder. And some of those levels, it's big on like, any of the civilians that get away from you, they'll alert the cops, but you can't twist tie all of the civilians. So you have to like, and similarly, once you twist tie someone, they're not moving. So if you do it like in the middle of the street, someone's going to walk by and be like, is this person just into bondage or
public bondage? Yeah.
It's a much deeper game than it originally appears, although it is straight up just like killing lots and lots of cops, which is kind of distasteful.
Yeah, so perhaps I'll just have to play it online then and make people show me the ropes, I guess. So,
because that's a loving teaching environment.
Yeah, people are so considerate in online gaming. Good thing I can go there. But yeah, so that's all I got. I've been, yeah. So
yeah, you've been busy.
Yeah.
Are you going to stick with PSN? Have you caught the poison?
One of us.
We'll see. So I got it mid-month, so I'll get to see what like the next round of games are when they switch over. So we'll see if that convinces me to stay for a little bit longer or not.
Cool.
Yeah.
Huh. Neat. I'm going to go because it is not entirely a lot, so I have kind of some miscellaneous things to attend to. I went to Goodwill over the weekend. I was up home in Mansfield, and my brother is a noted thrift hound. And do you want to know what I got for $3?
Final Fantasy VII.
Nope. A functioning Guitar Hero 5 wireless Xbox 360 controller.
Nice.
I know. Like, okay.
All right.
So those things go for like $80 online, like either eBay or whatever. Like the market has entirely fallen through. It's just people like me who are like, oh man, I really want to have this other controller to to round out my set. And so, I don't want to pay this much money for it, but it'd be cool if I found it. But I was in there like walking with him as he looked at this stuff, and I was like, oh, I need it. And like I like the batteries had kind of seeped inside of it, like it was entirely caked over with alkaline.
Oh god!
But I got it home and I cleaned the contacts off with some vinegar. And last night I totally played some Rock Band 3. I was partying like it was 2009.
Nice.
So I may or may not be starting a Rock Band night at work.
Yes.
Yeah, because I have the full pro set now. Like, it's pretty great. And that's like, I think, the best controller that's been put out. Like the Rock Band ones haven't been too great, but it has the clicky strum bar and the good buttons. All I had to do was clean off the contacts and oil the bar to make it not squeak.
Nice.
Wait, was that the professional version of the thing?
No, I already have the pro one. It's the non-pro one. So,
Okay.
to hand to people who are not as elite as I.
What you need to do is, to get everyone set up for Rock Band night and hand out all the controllers and be like, okay, amateurs, and then just whip out the pro guitar. Let's do this.
It's gonna happen. Yeah. But that was a big thing. Also, aside from that, I feel the need to say here that I have made my decision about what to do for the next generation of hardware.
Yes.
I was gonna say. All right. So I took my money that I had saved for my PlayStation 4, and I used some of my tax return money. David, you can't gloat. Sitting on my dining room table. The parts are coming tomorrow. The remaining parts, rather. Oh. And I am building an entertainment center PC. I know. So I did my research. I picked the parts. This is the same case that a bunch of Steam boxes are using. After I saw that the Steam boxes were going to be steaming pieces of shit, I was like, okay, so what am I going to do to play like Watchdog and Thief and The Witness, right? Like, what am I going to do? I don't want to buy a PlayStation 4. just yet, because I don't really believe that. The reason that I want to buy a PlayStation 4 is for the indie scene, but the indie scene is best on the PC. So it's like, and my computer that I use to, for my general purpose, it is a, maxed out top of the line MacBook Pro, but not everything runs on Mac OS 10. Right? So there's some things I can do and some things that are mouse and keyboard, but I love sitting on a couch and playing a game. And so, what I did was I parted out a PC that cost less than $1,000, but still gave me 2 gigabytes of video RAM. It's an Intel Core i7, so it can be a streaming / recording / transcoding machine, right? Has plenty of RAM, has plenty of video capability, and assuming I didn't fuck up installing anything, by the time this comes out, I will have a fully functional PC sitting underneath my computer.
What odds do we give him that he doesn't fuck up anything?
I've built PCs before, so before you put that in there, I'm actually kind of freaked out because I know that even though processors are very fragile, they're not as fragile as I try to treat them. But I will be devastated because if I fucked up installing the processor, that's a $300 expense that I just flushed down the toilet. So
fair enough.
Remember
that static discharge is bad. Hack naked.
No, I did it barefoot on the. I rolled up my carpet, and I have one of those little wristbands that I attach to the chassis of the case. It's a nice case too. It's like I said, it's one of the cases that I think at least 3 of the Steam machines are using. So yeah, it's gonna be neat. So that's been my thing, and I'm gonna recoup the cost on just buying stuff on Steam sales.
That's true.
Yeah. But it came with a free copy, or my video card rather, the NVIDIA GTX 760 came with a free copy of Assassin's Creed 4. So I'm already entering the next gen.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, good.
So I feel like the way that we talk about computers is going to be the way our parents talked about televisions, where it's they used to have one for the whole family, And that's what we're going to be telling our kids about computers. Back in my day, there was a family computer, but now we have 8 computers in the house, Yeah.
In eyesight right now, I have 3 MacBook Pros, Ben. I'm
Just
serious.
wait for the cloud.
Just wait for the cloud. No, I have one that the Skype call is going through. I've got one that is my main machine that I'm recording and editing all of this on, and I have one that's just kind of hanging out on my bed right now.
He's there for emotional support.
Yes.
Oh, is that what we're calling porn?
Jesus. But you're right. It is kind of weird to be building a desktop PC in this year of our Lord 2014. But it's a move that I've been talking about building a PC for a good long while, and right now it just seems to make sense rather than buying a console.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
especially at the alpha stage.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm excited about that. We'll see when it comes through. If you see me throwing a tantrum on Twitter this week, it's because I messed it up. But I've built PCs before. Before I was a Mac guy, I was a build his own PC guy. So hopefully that knowledge is carried over, and all of it is pretty much the same. So,
can I do a shout out?
Sure.
I was going to say there's a Humble Indie bundle going on right now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's a really good one too. It has Antichamber and Guacamelee.
And Fez, if you haven't played that like me.
Yeah, that just dropped. That just dropped, didn't it?
Yeah, and it has Monaco as well.
Yeah,
which you should all have.
Yeah, has the swapper on it too. A bunch of listeners have been saying, check that shit out.
Also, the Humble store this week, there's real cheap Saints Row 4.
Yeah, they're doing a big deep silver. Deep dive, and then on the Humble Weekly sale, there's a bunch of independent adventure games coming out, including some stuff that I'm going to be talking about on Hexcrank, the Darkfall series. So Humble is you could do much worse than spending your money on Humble right now.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, I like them. But yeah, so aside from like hardware acquisitions, which is what that turned into, in terms of games, so I don't know if it's out for Android, but if you have an iOS device, Threes is definitely a very good game.
What the hell is Threes? Because everyone posts on Twitter about this all the time.
It's so good. Okay, so this week the theme for me is going to be like basic arithmetic themed games. I'm going to give you just kind of the basic rundown because I think everybody's talking about Threes. Anybody listening who's playing this is like, oh god, I don't want to hear about Threes again. But I'll tell you. Okay, so it's a 4x4 grid. Okay, it's a 4x4 grid. You have these little tiles, and the ones that can spawn as you swipe are 1, 2, and 3. All right, 1 and 2 can combine to make 3. 3 can combine to make 3. Anything 3 and above can combine with likes to make the multiple. So 3 and 3 combine to make 12. 12 and 12 combine to make 24. 24 and 24 combine to make 48, etc. And the purpose is to slide these tiles around, and you slide up, down, left, and right, and everything moves at once unless there's something blocking it in order to combine these things. And every time you slide from whichever direction you swipe, a new one comes on. So the idea is you want to eliminate as many or more tiles as are going to come on when you swipe. And so the strategy is to make sure that you are lining things up so that they're going to be in position to make a combination when you go. And so you're jockeying for score. So like I think my highest score is like 12,000, something like that, which is kind of small potatoes, but I felt really proud once I broke the 5-digit barrier. And yeah, it is a fantastic game. I really, really like it. Has a lot of personality to it. Like all of the individual numbers have like faces and voices.
Finally, you know how mathematicians feel.
No, I think it's called synesthesia. Yeah, 5 just feels red to me. No, but yeah, it's got an excellent presentation. It's fun, but I feel like I play it more out of compulsion, just because it is something you can play while you're thinking about something else. And because
now you know how mathematicians feel.
Yeah, but you develop a basic strategy and you play to it. So I try and move the biggest numbers into the bottom left. And like once I pick a direction to ban because if you swipe in this case to the right, you introduce some stuff that you're not going to be able to get rid of. So you're always trying to set stuff up so the smallest numbers are going to be to one corner, so that you're always going to be able to combine them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like for $2 you could do a lot worse, and like for a tile sliding basic arithmetic game, like you could do much worse. Yeah.
Very cool.
Check it out. It's real good.
Don't tweet about it though, because I've got way more of that than I can handle right now.
Oh no, what do you think? I'm a monster?
Well,
okay. Yeah.
I'll tweet about it.
Okay. At Merkelaster. At Cole Ross says the Threes is great. Download Threes. Yeah. The other one, since I said this is a suite, it's a game for iOS. It is free. It is called Calculords. Okay. It might be on other... I don't care about Android, but it might be on there. I'm not sure. So this is a game that is developed by Sean Baby, who is... I think it feels douchey to say, but he is one of the first like video game humorists to have come out. Like he did a regular column for EGM, like back in the day, talking about like bad games and such. And he's just been consistently working on being a funny dude about games for a very long time. And this is his first venture into making a game. And so this is out on iOS. I saw it in a preview build at the Portland Retro Games Expo, and I got to shake his hand and say, dude, like, you rule. Like,
you Chris Farley'd on him?
A little bit. Like, I like to think I was, like, respectful, but it was like, it's weird that my booth is across from yours, and also I've been reading you since I was 11. No, I don't think I said it like that, but just kind of like, I'm really excited about this game. I got to sit down and play it, and it's really cool, and I'm excited about this whole thing. I kind of Chris Farley. Okay. So it is a combination like tower defense / card game / mathematics quiz. So the idea is you have these 3 lanes that you can send attackers and defenders along. And the win condition is you destroy somebody else's base. And the units that you put on these lanes are derived from cards that are drawn randomly from a deck, depending on how many you clear out in the previous round. And they'll have their individual stats, their attack and defense stats. But in order to deploy these cards, these units, or these buffs or such and such, they have like a cost that is associated with them. And that cost has to be derived from a bank of numbers that is put out that you have operands to put on. So it's addition, subtraction, and multiplication. So if something has a cost of 25, like a unit cost of 25, you have so many instances. So say you have two 5 cards, you can do 5 times 5 in order to like make that, and then you spend the 25 card on deploying that unit in that lane. And so you can do any number of operations. So you can do, like, if there's something that is like 23, you could do 5 times 5 minus 2, and that gets rid of 3 cards. And if you get rid of all of the number cards, you get a bonus to all of your units for that turn when you commit them to, move to the right. Or, like for defense. So there are a lot of moving parts to it. But it all makes a lot of sense. And it kind of like flexes some weird like order of operations muscles you probably haven't flexed since, like, let's say high school math. And yeah, it's pretty cool. The presentation is great. It's like a 16-bit like SNES or like early 90s PC kind of vibe. Has a fantastic soundtrack, and the writing is pretty clever as well. But I'm having a lot of fun just whipping it out on my breaks at work for a couple of rounds before I put it back down. And yeah, any questions?
What's it called again?
Calculords.
Calculords, that's right.
Starring Calcutron.
Calculon.
Wow.
Glad we jumped over that one, man.
No! just pointing at him and making like a loud like "Arr!" So like like Donald Sutherland at the end of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. He said Futurama wrong. It's really great. It's free. Like, I can sense like maybe a little bit of shittiness with doing microtransactions, but I haven't seen any of it yet. So that is maybe a crappy thing to say about somebody whose work I really like, because the game is really fun. I kind of wish, like, I would rather just pay him $5 for this. Is my biggest hang up. But
yeah,
and it looks like it is just iOS, which is a bummer.
Boo.
Boo. Yeah. No, I want a bunch of people to play this because it's got a lot of personality.
Cool.
Yeah. And that's all I've got, because I've just been traveling a lot between here and Mansfield over the past couple weeks. So, yep. So let's see here. Let's clean yours up, Dennis, because I know we cleared 2 of yours. And then
you
we'll round
literally
out
cleared the 2 of mine. That's it all.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It was I contributed what I wanted to your portion, so I'm happy with it. But yeah, Brothers and Left Behind.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So David, how about you?
Sure. How I'm still playing Fallen London. There's currently their Valentine's Day events going on, which for some reason I think they only do like 3 holidays throughout the year, like special events for, and for some reason Valentine's Day is one of them.
Because they know people who are really heavily into computer games. No, I won't. Whatever. Nothing.
Cliches.
So yeah, basically I'm just using it to like farm high level items. But yeah, the game still continues to be one of the best written games I've ever played. Still enjoying the aggregate approach to storytelling. I don't know exactly what more to say. You should play this game.
Yeah.
You the collective. The other thing I've been doing is actually got back into the Secret World.
Real quick, did you see that the Fallen London people are working with BioWare on something, some kind of new project?
No. I know they've done a couple of like other kind of like side games in the engine they use to make the game, they like have released where like for free you can make games like on their network. And they've also made a couple like been hired to make a couple games. But is this the I forget what they call it. They're making kind of a roguelite sort of like FTL game.
Maybe.
Is that
yeah, I'm not sure. They're talking about it as an interactive fiction game, but I'm not sure what that means in this context.
I'm not sure. I mean, I know they had a Kickstarter a while back. Unfortunately, I missed it, but where basically they're making a game set in the Fallen London universe that's supposed to be kind of like a steampunk version of, what is it, Elite? Is that the game I'm thinking of? That's like FTL style?
I have no idea.
Yeah, Elite doesn't sound familiar.
I know. Well, anyways, so it's like supposed to be, basically you have a ship and you're exploring the undersea. And
like Sunless Sea is what they're calling it. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. That's the name. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that looks very cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm interested in writing. I just wish I had time to read. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess like I said, the other thing I've been doing is getting back into the Secret World. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'm seeing now much more than when I first played it why probably a lot of people didn't like it, in that the actual like it uses a make your own class system, which is really cool, really flexible, but it's really, really confusing actually making something decent.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't do a good job of communicating kind of like what the rules are, or what the concept is behind like what you should be looking for synergy. So that's kind of unfortunate. But that being said, the actual gameplay is even better than what I remember. They really do a great job of doing kind of set pieces. So like just earlier tonight, I was involved with one of the missions was investigating this basically this haunted mansion that has had a whole bunch of like murders happen throughout the decades, and so you go up and ultimately look into this into this old mirror in the attic and get transported back in time. And each like leg of this mission is basically you being transported to the night of one of these murders and having to prevent it, and then getting transported to the next one, and then by kind of ritualistically preventing these murders, allowing the spirits to finally reach their rest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that sounds like about the best thing.
So I I know. It's just it's very good.
And so you're doing the like free to play, like you just buy the $30 version of it and play it forever kind of thing, or?
Yeah. I mean, I already I bought the game when it came out, but initially it was subscription based. Now it's now it's free to play, and it's once you've bought the game, there's no longer a subscription, and they had. From what I've seen, they have microtransactions for costumes, and then at least some of the like monthly or however often they do like updates you have to pay for.
Right.
So it's kind of an a la carte thing.
Okay.
So.
That's cool. There's the concepts behind the Secret World always intrigue me, but I just know that because it is an MMO, the things that I would like about it, which are these weird mystery supernatural stories, would be spoiled by chat and just be like,
see,
the things that I would be invested in would just be undermined by the MMO underpinnings.
See, at least so far, I haven't experienced that. But I can't say that doesn't happen. I would say though, that's definitely like one of the more innovative things. I would say though, almost the best part though is just some of the dungeons, some of that. The very first dungeon is just amazing. The very first dungeon, I guess maybe this is a spoiler, but I think we're probably past statute of limitations for spoilers. But basically the very first dungeon, you get to the final boss and defeat the final boss, and then the ending cutscene, you're flying, your team's, being airlifted out on this helicopter, and all of a sudden you get, kind of the ending of the first Fear game. Cthulhu appears and basically smacks your helicopter out of the sky, and then the actual final boss fight is you going toe-to-toe with Cthulhu. And just it's a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah, so that kind of big encounter I could see benefiting from a raid mentality. But
it's
the best adventure games are like investigative in nature, and I don't see that being like this collaborative thing. And like MMOs are all about this collaborative environment.
And the weird thing about this is like a number of the investigative missions, you actually can't do them with other people.
Weird.
Like you'll go into an instance and it won't bring anyone else in with you.
Right.
So yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's experimental. Unfortunately, that's probably why it's. I guess it's being reasonably successful. It's still there. They're still developing it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Anything else?
I guess the only other thing I reinstalled Black Ops 2. That's really disappointing how
Why'd you do it?
Yeah, it's really disappointing how much a great series has kind of gone to crap. I mean, this is the Treyarch, which is the good team that's developing.
Infinity Ward was the good team.
Compared to whom?
Compared to what? Infinity Ward or whatever?
No, that's not true. That is a false statement.
Okay, so I'll let you take this one, Ben.
Infinity Ward is better than Treyarch.
I'm going to have to disagree.
Objectively.
Yeah. No, so okay, so now Treyarch is the new lead team, okay? So like right now and the bad team is Sledgehammer, I believe, right? Or the B team. B standing for bad.
A standing for all right.
No, I will contest this. Black Ops, both, especially the first Black Ops, to a somewhat lesser degree the second one, actually at least tried to have a story that made some sort of sense and actually tries to do multiplayer that's innovative.
Yeah.
Do you like Blops more than Modern Warfare 2?
Oh, no.
Because that's the difference between Infinity Ward and Treyarch.
See, I would say in terms of single player, oh yeah, not even in the same league. In terms of multiplayer...
That Treyarch's not even in the same league as Infinity Ward, or...?
Yes, so much better. So much better.
Okay, cool.
In terms of multiplayer, I would say it's kind of a weird thing in that...
It depends solely on your preference for diving.
No. I would say Modern Warfare 2 was probably, on the whole, the best in terms of, like, the fundamentals. I would say Modern Warfare 3 was probably a more fun multiplayer, but they've increasingly instituted features that annoy the hell out of me. Like the fact that the maximum player count is now 12. So I know.
I'm actually really curious what's going to happen because Ghosts actually underperformed. I'm not sure like what Activision is going to do, with that information because it's on the console scene, right? Like they could have just said people didn't know which one to buy, so they didn't buy any at all. But like me being kind of like the doomsayer about multiplayer first-person shoot-mans, like I'm inclined to say like this is the market reacting violently against stagnation in that genre, right? But
I don't think it's stagnation the genre. Oh, so I'm sorry. Go on.
In that presentation of the genre, rather like in that franchise, and like they're like to my mind, with my knowledge of that, like what's there to replace it besides like Battlefield? But like Battlefield has like done fall off anyway. So
I would say I don't think Battlefield's the same genre. I would say hopefully Titanfall.
There's a lot of hope being pinned on Titanfall,
I think
man.
that's... Say that again?
There's a lot of hope being pinned on Titanfall.
Yeah, and
everything I've seen delivers on it, though.
Okay.
Right, but I would say my answer to that, I think it's definitely... I would say stagnation, but I would also say I think stagnation born of laziness and just not making good games, as opposed to like people are tired of playing this. I think it's just people are tired of playing crap versions of this. I think one of the big things is the games have become overbalanced. In that it's become a thing where they try so hard to make sure that every option in like your perk setup is so balanced that it in effect becomes I don't care about any option in my perk setup.
Yeah. It becomes this Grey Goo, this slurry of like hedged equivalencies. Yeah.
Right, and it's a thing where in trying to make the perks like ultra like intelligent and like it's a combination of two things. One, they want to make everything so situational that it ends up being like this perk makes you fire twice as many bullets on a full moon when fighting Somalians. And on the other hand, the problem is it's a thing where a lot of times the trade-offs aren't things you can't really play to your strengths. So like a gun that's great at close range but sucks at long range, you'll be fighting approximately 50% of the time in each, so you're really no farther ahead.
Mm-hmm. I think that an overemphasis on balance is just an expression of letting the shittiest parts of your community win. Right.
Yeah,
these are people who are going to say, like, because you nerfed rogues by like this 0.2% of a DPS, I'm going to quit this game, and then just like putting too much of an emphasis. I think that like too much like just like slavish, almost like I would say religious or ritualistic like adherence to that makes for an uninteresting experience, and I would say even further like is the death of like texture in the experience, which is that like
sure.
like like a lot of fun and a lot of interest comes from asymmetry, right? And I'm not talking about like, oh, like is this way overpowered, like nerf at this blah 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 blah, like where something is like totally like way overpowered, but like when you start cutting it so finely that you just have people like saying, yeah, I'm gonna quit this game because like what we're seeing is just like these studios capitulating to like the pickiest common denominator.
Well, I would also say I think it's listening way too much to the quote-unquote hardcore crowd.
Yeah.
In that it's people for whom the game is about winning, not about being fun.
Smash Brothers is only Star Fox, Final Destination, no items.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And on the other hand, like the other area that I think just ruins the game is the kill streaks, in that those have become so much about ensuring I'm elite, therefore I need to ensure that I win all the time.
Right.
That it's taken basically the kill streaks make it so that it's unheard of for there to be just close games. It always one team gets the kill streaks and it's a blowout, and the other team just can't do anything.
I mean, that's been a problem since like Counter-Strike, where the rich get richer, right?
See, but that's
gun game.
The thing is,
what's that?
That's the
gun game.
Gun game.
It's Counter-Strike game. You get a bigger gun with the more kills you get.
Right.
But the thing is, people should have learned from that. I mean, Counter-Strike was crap because it was made in the Dark Ages. People should have learned from that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Also hacking. I've never actually experienced that in a game before, but yeah, games where people start shooting at me through the walls before I'm on screen.
Oh, man.
Although I guess I will say that could just be overwhelming abuse of kill streaks.
Maybe.
Oh.
They've got like that perfect dark gun that shoots through walls. Yeah.
Well,
and also through time.
And consoles.
No, like one of the kill streaks, basically you can see where anyone on the map is, what direction they're facing. The perks that keep you from doing that, normally block those sorts of kill streaks, arbitrarily don't work on this one, and it's impossible to shoot this one down.
Right.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed in this this franchise.
Oh, well, we're running up on time. I feel like we've talked a lot about Call of Duty. But yeah, multiplayer shooters at a point of crisis, I would say. So let's move away from that. I'm sorry, there's no good way to do this, David. I'm cutting you off.
Oh, no.
Okay.
You're drunk.
You've had enough. I'll tell you when I've had enough.
Multiplayer.
Now it is time for the multiplayer, where we're going to quickly go through your responses. Dennis, what was the prompt for our kind listeners?
Yeah, so we're gonna get weird up in here, try some new things, get outside of our comfort zones. And we asked, what game or series would you most want to see get a spin-off in a different genre? So the thing that inspired this was actually the Persona 4 spin-off, which is a dancing game.
Yep.
Go figure. But Mario Kart, Smash Bros, all those things.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through all the responses, maybe with minimal commentary. I'm going to call out who's going to read what. I have the order established, and we're going to give ours at the end. How's that sound?
I like it.
Sounds like a plan.
Personal.
Cool. Sounds personal. Here we go. Well, there's a lot of response, and it's nearly midnight.
This is a good question.
It is a good question. So, Ben, since you volunteered, what does Sean have to say?
Says, we've had Pokemon on rails and Final Fantasy Guitar Hero, so why not Metal Gear DDR? You practice going and sneaking through a minefield. Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's Metal Gear Laser Dance. So you're trying to work your way through laser tripwires, and you have to do like you're timing it out like what's her name, Catherine Zeta-Jones in Ocean's 13 or Ocean's 12 or whatever.
Entrapment.
Yep.
Entrapment.
That's one of my favorite jokes. I think I heard it on one of the Hot Dog Network podcasts, which is I'm going to repeat it shamelessly here. If you ever see a cop, if you ask them what their favorite movie is, they have to tell you. Otherwise, it's Entrapment, starring Catherine Zeta-Jones. It's a pretty good joke. Yeah, but it would play like public domain, like musical classics, like in the Hall of the Mountain King, as you're trying not to trigger laser traps. David.
Sure. Robert Noakes says Dark Souls kart racing.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
I just love thinking about what this could be. Like, just...
No, you're just like going through Anne Orlando. There are plenty of notable environments in Dark Souls, and I think that is what matters in a kart racing game, right? Courses, mm-hmm. It's Blight Town. It's kind of like so Blight Town would be like the Ghost Mansion from Mario Kart. The treacherous road conditions. Yeah. Like you go one way, you fall off the planks. You go the other way, you're mired up in a poisonous muck.
I could just see it, you pop a tire and you die.
Yeah.
Your engine box fires and you die.
Yeah.
You go off a ramp and you die.
Yeah.
You will race.
Yeah. Oh, man. So let's see here. Joseph Ellis says, I would love to see a true open-world RPG with the cast of Mortal Kombat. Not like the awful mess they tried with Sub-Zero. In the Skyrim/Dragon's Dogma fashion, where you could pick a starting character and develop your skills, fatalities, and combos through an EXP system. Maybe it's an awful idea, but it's something I've thought I would like to see for some time. I'm going to say that, maybe I just don't understand. Maybe I just don't understand because there are these franchises that there's a lot of affection for because apparently they have very full worlds and very full characters, and Mortal Kombat is kind of one of those, I think, which there's a lot of reverence paid towards that. And it just kind of seems like an excuse area or like an excuse plot or an excuse setup, which is like, let's get a bunch of these weirdos to fight.
Haven't there been multiple Mortal Kombat movies, though?
If by multiple you mean two, yes.
Although I've seen
one of which is unwatchable.
Yeah, the first one, kind of okay. Second one is, just pure garbage.
Wait, but have you seen the YouTube Mortal Kombat?
The trailer?
Series? No, the series they did.
No.
Oh, those are amazing.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just not used to so seeing monsters kung fu each other is not something I get excited about. so I wouldn't be the audience for this pitch that you've made, Joseph, which is not to
I don't
diminish
think we
it.
can be friends anymore, Cole.
Yeah. Dennis, Murph.
Yeah, Murph says, pretty much turn anything into a card game and I'm there. It's a weird weakness of mine. If you press me for specifics, imagine how cool a Binding of Isaac asymmetrical two-player game would be. One player would be building their Isaac with power-up cards, and the other player would play enemy and boss cards on a room card. In a tangentially related note, I would punch several babies, if we could get a proper turn-based, by-the-rules, squad-focused D&D 4th edition game, a la Final Fantasy Tactics, and not the shovelware that was Dagger Dump or whatever that was.
Dagger Dump sounds painful. Yeah. No, like you describing the Binding of Isaac card game makes me like want to prototype that. Actually,
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah. Oh man, so like it's kind of weird because this coincides with at least one semi-major news story, which is a Hitman like miniatures based game, like tactical RPG kind of thing.
Oh wow!
Yeah, yeah, that is being developed by Eidos. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, again, breaking out of stuff and like the whole turn-based, tactical kind of thing plays into the card game. Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
For sure. Ben, what's Nick say?
A Nintendo-themed building game. Just rip off Minecraft, but make it in the Mushroom Kingdom and associated Nintendo worlds. Metroid, Zelda, Earthbound. There's so many varied and crazy worlds they could introduce. It's borderline criminal that it hasn't been done yet. Come on, Nintendo, just take my money already.
Yeah, I could see that. That would be kind of like the end game scenario for fan service, which is like, let's do this wacky worlds-esque, give you the tools to make your own expressive art using our assets. Mm-hmm. I don't know how it would be like in 3D, but like just giving you the sprites and like putting the vaguest notion of a system behind it, because all the stuff he mentions is 2D, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't that Mario Paint or whatever?
Kind of. I mentioned Wacky Worlds, which was the non-union Mexican Genesis equivalent of Mario Paint. I prefer mine, but yeah, you're right. Huh? But there was no Earthbound in that, so.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah, David, what's Ethan say?
Sure. Ethan says Mortal Kombat. Skyrim-style RPG.
So we have two votes for that?
Yes. Seconded.
You're outnumbered, Cole.
Damn it.
Fatality.
Like, how would you guys feel? So okay, so since this came up again, am I crazy for dismissing that universe as summarily as I did?
I don't think
you were crazy for dismissing monsters punching each other and people punching monsters. Okay.
But, like, you realize that Mortal Kombat monsters are just dudes in costumes that they took digital photographs of, right? Like, it's the definition of cheesy.
And change the color of their wardrobe. I mean, I don't think it's...
Go on.
I don't think it's crazy, because, I mean, people also feel the same way about, like, Street Fighter and stuff. I think it's just more nostalgia almost, or mixed in with people spending their childhoods playing that game.
Maybe.
So here's the thing that I think really works about it is, in a fighting game, that you have a really, really deep combo system that is always thrown at you at once.
Unless
right?
it's Mortal Kombat. Good.
Well, okay. But there's I could see a lot of fun in kind of, you start out with your character that has just the base couple of combos. Or very, very simple, and then as you gain XP and level up, you can kind of choose the move set that you wind up with to kind of customize to your playstyle. But God of War, even then, is that complicated.
You're describing exactly Mortal Kombat Mythology's The Legend of Sub-Zero.
Oh, really?
Like, you really are.
Oh, I didn't know that existed. Is that the Sub-Zero thing that Joseph referenced?
Yes.
Which
is a platformer/fighting game where you did level up Sub-Zero, and you were able to choose which of his moves you were able to get. So,
aha,
yeah.
I think the other thing about it is actually both Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat actually have fairly complex backstories. It's just that the game itself doesn't always do a particularly good job of telling them.
No, they offload that to the anime.
Street Fighter doesn't tell them at all.
Well, no, they tell them Japan, Thailand, India. When you select the characters, it says their nationality.
No, but like legitimately, like Street Fighter, like I don't know, you're fighting in some thing and evil Russians taking over the world with like psychic there's a story there. I just don't know it.
But it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not claiming that. It's also Japanese. I mean, isn't that
okay? So I don't. Okay, I don't want our stance to be the Japanese is bullshit. So let's back away from that.
I'm just saying, I've played JRPGs. All the stories are bullshit.
Let's put a finer point on this.
I don't know. I work at a Japanese country or company, so I feel like I can talk shit about Japanese people, not like in a racist way, but in a
no. I'm simply saying, like, all the JRPGs I've seen, the storylines make no sense.
But at the very least, like the stuff that happens isn't dude punches other dude until bar empties.
Yeah.
It seems like in JRPGs, moms always like die early on, like for some like honor reason.
Well, no, the whole village dies, like
or that, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. Jeffrey Lawton, GeoLaw, G-Unit says, "What about a roller coaster tycoon survival horror game where you're not the sadistic creator, but a person trying to escape a gauntlet of deadly rides, endless labyrinths of paths, $10 bathrooms, quote, escaped tigers, sinister mascots, jumping path fountains of blood, in parentheses, of course, and giant tweezers trying to toss you into a lake. See also Mr. Bones' Wild Ride, which is the pinnacle of RCT sadism. I'm not quite sure what RCT means, but I will click this link and
roller
see what happens.
Tycoon.
Okay.
Wait, so didn't he, other than the like tweezers and stuff, didn't he kind of describe Illbleed?
A little bit, yeah. So there's a rich history in survival horror games of using amusement parks as setting. Right, most
because
notably, like in Silent Hill 3, of course here. But that is much more like personal. So I'm not sure how like the tycoon thing would be. Like it would almost be like a reverse Trapped / Tecmo's Deception / like Dungeon Keeper kind of vibe, where it was almost like a card game kind of thing, where it puts you on a path. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just kind of flexing right now in saying names of survival horror games, so I'm going to need you to rescue me.
Well, the thing that the thing that it made me think of was the Stanley Parable, where the narrator or this kind of unseen force is kind of interacting with you and maybe not necessarily modifying things, but I could see the Stanley Parable with a slightly more active and slightly more antagonistic narrator as this kind of game.
Isn't that just kind of what Silent Hill already is, except in a more oblique and symbolic way?
But that's the fun of it, is you actually have like a direct antagonist here who is this quote-unquote all-powerful person who can modify the world around you.
Okay, so isn't that just like Manhunt or like Far Cry, where you have somebody who is like sending stuff after you, or like in broader strokes like maybe Arkham City, where the Joker is like creating your own personal hell for you? I'm sorry, like I love this idea. That's why like the things that I love the most are the things that I poke the most holes into. Go ahead.
Drop you into a one-by-one lake, quote unquote. It is really just my drowning pool.
Exactly. Yeah. Huh. But yeah, I like that idea a lot. I would just like to see how it would articulate, and also how a sim kind of approach to it, like Roller Coaster Tycoon, would reconcile with you being an individual in this world. Dennis, what's Dustin say?
Dustin says he would like Resident Evil 1, but in Scott Pilgrim versus the World style beat 'em up gameplay with guns. You would unlock the STARS members as you meet them. I like the idea of demakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, demakes?
It's something that pops up on blogs from time to time. So, like, they take a game like Portal or Silent Hill 2. I think Shadow of the Colossus had one as well. And they're like, what if this same concept was executed on, say, like the Atari?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like that. But that's that's good. So, yeah, it would take some of the horror out of it. But Resident Evil hasn't been about horror for a good long while.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. Ben, how about Matt?
Matt says Mario Kart : tactical espionage action.
Matt, I think that you just kind of looked at the prompt and then just mix and match things.
Good enough.
Yeah. Oh, man. David, how about Christopher?
I would play that game.
I mean, as a curiosity.
Oh, no. I would.
It would be your Goatee 2014.
I'm just saying a game that I'm envisioning myself like sneaking in and like sabotaging Yoshi's car.
No, I'm picturing like it would be like Drive except with Mario Kart.
that also good, but I'm still envisioning like when Yoshi like hits the star, he just explodes and giblets everywhere.
At the end, it's Luigi killing somebody with Donkey Kong's hammer, like one of those brutal fight scenes.
Princess Peach is a single mother of Toad.
Yeah. It's pretty.
So Christopher says, Christopher Slee says, Amnesia, the Animal Crossing. Why not ruin a cute game that makes people happy? I probably also would have played Euro Truck Simulator 2, a transport for pigs.
That'd be great if you had Animal Crossing where you couldn't look at the animals. You were too scared to do it.
Well, have you seen the fan theory that like Animal Crossing setup only makes sense if the actual plot of the game is you've been like kidnapped by a cult?
Yeah, and your mom is actually the original owner of Jesse. Sorry, I think I got things confused there for a second.
Was it the theory on the Toy Story?
Yeah, the mom from Toy Story.
Yeah.
I've seen that article. I haven't read it.
Everybody's sharing that piece of bullshit.
Wait, is this article?
It's some fan wankery about like who Andy's mom is.
It's not that Sarah likes to reuse assets.
Yeah. No, it couldn't be that. Occam's razor, what's that?
Sounds like a boss fight.
And finally, I'm going to say Michael or Mikhail says, a post 9/11 Papers, Please. A city sim in the U.S. I kind of like that idea a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is like putting you in the role of like a TSA agent. Yeah, I could see that. It wouldn't be funny that much. It would be more of like a cutting commentary. But
yeah, but and you could have it. Honestly, it would be very easy to translate and just have, hey, today this app we're going to try to streamline things. Only it's kind of broken and doesn't work that great.
Yeah. No, and like Papers, Please is about the dehumanization of systems like that. So like it would totally map. Although I think that Papers, Please is successful because it just kind of abstracts it a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like Arstotzka, like it could be any given Eastern Bloc country, but if they made it Soviet Russia, it probably would have had more baggage to it.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
I just know every time I go through, I have to get pad down, and it's annoying as hell.
Yeah, no,
freaking TSA.
No, I always opt to have my nads rubbed as opposed to going through the radiation machine. So, yeah, that's all me. Oh, man. So that is everybody. Thank you for participating. Record turnout there. I don't know about record, but a lot of people. Sorry we rushed through it. So why don't we go through our own real quick and just kind of like give them. So David, how about you?
Pokemon massively multiplayer game.
Yeah,
Yes.
that makes a lot of sense. Like PvP is kind of built into the fiction.
Yeah, but Nintendo doesn't believe that the internet exists, so
They're in
I'm
denial.
waiting to see how it pans out.
See if it's just
You
a
could
fad.
you could also like add in then like a conservation aspect to it. So like if you don't, if you're not careful with the way people are capturing a certain species or whatever, it could get in danger of going extinct or something like that.
That'd be interesting.
yes, but this is the Pokemon universe where when a Pokemon goes extinct, you just throw science at it and it becomes awesome.
Yeah. How about you, Ben?
I was thinking of Silent Hill karaoke. God
damn it.
And like the chanting song from Silent Hill 3 could be like the
Prayer,
expert level.
yeah, like,
so, yeah.
No, there's some good some good tunes on the Silent Hill soundtracks, specifically by the one lady who sings them.
That's a pandering answer, though. I'm pandering to you. So
Yeah, well, you also kind of stole like one aspect of mine, so I'll go last, I suppose. Dennis, how
All
about
right.
you?
For
hopefully
me,
our listeners have a memory of a gnat, so they'll forget about my answer by the time we get to yours.
Yep.
if that's the case, there's no way they've made it this far into the episode. So. But The Last of Us had like a little like Tamagotchi village building mini game built into its multiplayer that I thought was really fun, and so I'd be interested to see a The Last of Us game that actually was a city building game or a village building game, taking all of the desperation and resource scarceness of the third person shooter and kind of putting it into a resource management game.
Oh, so like what you're talking about is like State of Decay.
Yeah,
Honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
but with better art.
Yeah. And for mine, I would love to see some kind of like Silent Hill meets Majestic kind of thing. So people might not remember Majestic. It was a PC game from a long while back that like you signed into it and it like turned your life into an alternate reality game. So you would receive emails from characters in the game and like faxes and phone calls and whatever you opted into. And that's how the story revealed itself. So like just it would be difficult because obviously, Konami couldn't come in and like paint all your walls blood colored, but to like play with that surreality and leverage that more for horror instead of paranoia. I think that would be an awesome kind of like participatory narrative experience, or to do like a Silent Hill themed like Sleep No More kind of thing, where you're in this big building and it's a timed theatrical experience. But that is like venturing out of the realm of video games and into like Cole's wet dreams or what he would do if he like suddenly received $20 million. So
I could just see like opting into having like your fax machine, because we all have those.
yeah,
Be connected to this, and just in the middle of the night, it starts printing out just picture after picture of like disfigured bodies or something.
yeah.
What,
Yeah.
did you ever see the thing with the original Fear game?
I played it.
If you bought the special edition, every time you ran the game, there was a small chance that would change your computer screensaver to Alma.
Yep, I remember that. That happened to me because I bought the special edition of that game.
Nice.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. So those are our answers. Would that we could live in this world with tactical Silent Hill beat 'em ups, but we do not. But what we do live in is a world where you guys answer our questions when we put them out. So thank you. If you would like to see those, usually we put them up on Tuesday, sometime around the middle of the day. That is facebook.com/thelevelpodcast. You guys ready to button it up?
Yeah.
Let's do it. So, we're not going to belabor the admin section. We're getting ready to do the Dark Souls 2 thing on Bonfireside Chat. That's kind of the next big network event. So, if you're going to be participating in that, pay attention to that other show. But for this show in particular, I'll probably be talking about that stuff here. But like we said, facebook.com/the level podcast, iTunes ratings and reviews, and for participating in the multiplayer prompt. What else is there? If you want to support the network monetarily, the best way is to use the tip jar link. That's duckfeed.tv/tipjar. Use the Amazon referral link that we have there, and we get a little kickback from that, and that helps cover things like hosting and whatnot. Guys, am I missing anything aside from telling a friend?
Always listen with a buddy.
Yep. Oh, exactly. Yeah. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm sorry we missed last week, but some things happen. Yeah. So this has been Cole Ross.
Where are you at, Cole?
I am at Cole Ross on Twitter. Sorry. Thank you for catching that.
Close one.
I'm Dennis Furia at dfuria on Twitter.
I'm David Mysmith at Mysmith777.
I'm Ben Merkel at Merkelizer.
Cool. And watch out for a fair number of anxiety attacks. Cool. Let's go ahead and do this thing.
Yes, indeed.
All right, just 1 second. I need to use the facilities.
Okay. Let's go.
He's talking about his workout facilities. He's going to go pump some iron before he starts the podcast.
It's like, Schwarzenegger before a movie shot needs to get a pump so he looks more muscular.
Yeah.
No, he needs to go play a multiplayer match on Facility, the map from GoldenEye.